Hey guys, on today's video I have something a little bit different for you, so stay tuned and check it out. Hey everyone, welcome back into the channel. My name is Andrew with 5 Little Ducks Resale, and if you're new here, welcome. This channel is all about reselling. My wife and I are full-time online resellers. That means we go to places like garage sales, estate sales, thrift stores. We buy undervalued items, and then we flip those items online for a profit on sites like eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. Before we get into the meat of today's video, I wanted to stop and give a quick shout out to my wife Jessica, who has been noticeably absent from the last number of videos. So seeing how as it's almost Christmas time, she has been understandably busy because she runs a 501c3 nonprofit out of our house, as well as helping me with the reselling business. Every year she manages an angel tree for the children of our county who may not have access to Christmas presents. This year is the biggest one that they've ever done, with nearly 140 kids on the tree. And at this point in time, I believe that nearly 90% of the kids have been adopted. So she has been quite busy with the coordination of the gifts and making sure that all the kids will get adopted by the time Christmas rolls around. So again, big shout out to Jess and her charity, which is called Ellis County Little Ways of Charity. I'll put a link to the webpage in the description of this video in case you're interested in learning more. So in this clip that you're about to see, it's a little bit unorthodox in the sense that we go through the items that we recently picked up from a consignment deal. We didn't pay for any of the items that we picked up, but I'll explain more about that in this clip, so check it out. Hey guys, I wanted to walk you through this kind of unorthodox haul video. So Jess and I met with some family friends the other night, and we've done some consignment work with them previously. This was our friends Beth and Larry, and we were actually selling a number of Larry's Star Trek collection pieces and some vintage Disney pins and things that we've had listed in the store for quite some time. So we recently met up with them because they had some other stuff for us to consign with them. Evidently, Beth had been clearing out her mother's house, and they recently moved into an apartment and have cleared out a lot of stuff, and so they've accumulated some things that they were wanting to get rid of. So long story short is that we met up with them, had dinner, had a really great time, and they gave us some stuff to sell for them on eBay. And so just wanted to kind of walk you through this kind of weird haul video, because some of this stuff I've actually already listed, some of this stuff I've gone through, but I figured it was too cool that I just wanted to share it with you. So let's dive in and I'll walk you through it. Okay, so basically what we're looking at here in these paper tubes or paper wraps are things that I've already listed on eBay. I actually listed these today. This was a set of flatware, or some silver-plated flatware that was actually included in this case here. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see it in there. And I'm not going to sell the case itself. I'm just going to sell the flatware. The case was kind of in bad condition. But just to show you an example of what I was listing today was some, silver-plated spoons, some things you'd probably see at an estate sale or, something like that. This is actually made by, let's bring it up here, 1847 Rogers Brothers, which is the brand. And it says XS triple, so it's a triple plate. So it's a silver-plated piece. These aren't actually like sterling silver or solid silver or something like that. This is the continental pattern. Of course, had to do some research to figure that out. But I broke up some of the different pieces. Like these are teaspoons. This was a set of 5. I had a set of 6. I listed those. And we had some forks and some knives and whatnot. So like I said, I broke all those up into individual pieces or the types of pieces, and then listed those. So these have all been listed today. That's what I worked on today. The other interesting thing was that there was another pattern included in there, and I'll try to get it out here. Wasn't planning on showing you guys, so that's why it's all still wrapped up, but it'll make for a good video, I think, if I can get it open. So this was the only set that was in there. Again, it's silver plate, but these are even older. This is kind of a cool pattern. You can kind of see that it has like little dragonflies or some sort of insects on here. This is called, or the pattern is called Laurion, L-A-U-R-I-O-N. The company here is Pearpoint Manufacturer, This says 1880 pear point. I believe this is late 1800s. And the only pieces that I have are a set of 6 spoons, I think. So I listed these pretty high with the best offer turned on. I wasn't exactly sure because there's not a lot of this pattern listed. There's a few, but I believe that these were late 1800s, so 19th century pieces. Kind of cool. Don't run into those every day. So getting into some other more modern things, Larry had a bunch of cool Disney ties and character ties that he used to have in his possession, and of course we have now. But some of these are really cool, like obviously Taz, and some of the artwork on here is really cool. And I think these are all vintage ones. So this says, yeah, 1993. Briefly looked up a few, you know, didn't see any home runs, but I mean, these are too cool not to try. I mean, even if we listed them for, you know, maybe $10 a piece, I don't even know. I'd have to do a lot more research because there's just a ton of them here. Like this whole stack is nothing but ties. So we have Lion King, of course, more Disney. Some other Disney down here. Winnie the Pooh, Jungle Book. More Disney stuff. There's a musical one here that plays a tune. But some of the artwork on here was cool. Of course, SpongeBob. That's a Christmas one. That might be one to list sooner than later. Let's see here. Here's a Dr. Seuss tie. But yeah, some of the artwork on here was cool like that. That's cool. That Looney Tunes London Guard. It's kind of cool. Some more Disney ties. I don't know. Some of these were really neat. Of course, I've messed up my folding job here. And I was thinking about maybe photographing them on the mannequin. I put one on here just to, I don't know, just to see. I haven't figured out how I'm going to go through all these yet and if I'm going to lot them up or do whatever. No idea. But over here in this box, we have some really cool stuff as well. We have some collector plates, which, you know, they're vintage for sure. They're Holly Hobby, like the Christmas ones. There was a couple of other Holly Hobby ones. There was I don't know about this one. This is a location-specific Riverview Hotel, Kankakee, Illinois. It's definitely got some sort of gold plate on there. So interesting stuff. I don't know if those will be huge sellers. We had some interesting mugs, vintage porcelain mugs. Kind of neat. Looked like Beatrix Potter, but Foxwood Tales, Luxembourg, 1994. Don't know, haven't looked it up. But they look interesting. There's only 2 of those. But the really cool stuff is under here. There's some vintage and antique books and mailers, and some of the stuff is just really cool. Like this book is obviously it's in horrible condition, the cover at least. But it's antique. It's similar to the ones that I got from my mom. I'll have to go through those and list those eventually. She gave me a bunch of antique books to go through as well. But that's 1902. I think this is the 1904 edition. And the book itself is not bad. It's just the cover. So but it's amazing to find a 100-year-old book. But apart from that, and some of this stuff is in really bad shape, but a price list of parts for the Studebaker Model SF4 1916. So again, this is like a car parts catalog from the early 1900s, and you can see little diagrams and whatnot. Look at some of these, the cost, pennies on the dollar. Wow, crazy. Again, I don't know if that'll be worth anything just because condition, like it's all coming apart and whatnot. But there were some other cool things in here that I found that might actually be sellable. Let me get to where I was at before. So I know that vintage maps can kind of do okay. I mean, they're not huge home runs at all, but this is all intact. There might be a few tears on the high points, of the folds and whatnot, but a shell map. I think this is probably from the 40s of Indiana. There was another one here. This one was a cool one. This was a state of Illinois, the official highway Illinois map, 1933. What's interesting about this is that it actually shows in the inset in Chicago the World's Fair and Exposition Fairgrounds. It shows that on the map, so I can't obviously unfold that one-handed, but that's kind of cool. And that's all intact as well. And there's, of course, a big fold-out map of all the different highways. Of course, this well predates all of the interstate system, so it's all Illinois routes and state routes and all of the lesser roads. So it's a fascinating thing to look at. There was something else here that was really cool too. This one is awesome. Battle Map of the Pacific by Rand McNally. So it's basically, this is again 1940s, and it's a map that they would have put out, but it's showing like all of the different areas in Europe. So it shows like Europe, the Philippines, Japan. It's kind of a really cool thing. And of course, it is all intact. There was another one in here as well, if I can find it. Maybe I took it out already. No, I think it's still in here. Oh yeah, Sinclair News Map. Again, it's very similar. It just shows the map of the, where, in Europe where all the war was taking place. This one actually has like the fronts on it, like the Maginot Line and all. It's from a historical perspective, it's a really cool piece. Again, I don't know if it's going to be worth anything. Maybe to a collector. I don't know. Map of Romania. Kind of cool. You can see actually the little red line there. It's probably showing some sort of separation. Oops. Again, a lot of this stuff is in really poor shape, so I don't know from a collector standpoint. But there was a couple other things that I wanted to highlight, and this was one of them here. This is actually a mailer from 1924, and it's called The Buyer's Guide, and I actually saw one listed on eBay for 250 bucks. Now, again, that's the listed price. But what's cool about this is that it's literally like a catalog of different things that you could buy back in the 20s. Mainly auto parts, it looks like. Yeah, look at that. But it's like this really ornate, or what I think of in terms of ornate for the time, again, the 20s. But this mailer, and it's in really good shape considering. So yeah, I mean, that's very cool. So there was one other one in here as well, but yeah, all auto parts from the 20s. But that's something that you get in the mail. What does this say? 1 cent U.S. postage sent to Elmont, Illinois. So obviously, relatives of Beth and Larry used to live in Illinois. There was another one here, a similar mailer, but instead of automotive parts, it was for radio parts. And this one wasn't more of a booklet, it was more of a fold out. But check that out, Radiotron tubes. You could buy an entire radio case for 350 bucks. That was a lot of money back then. This one does fold out, I believe, but I won't go through it all. The doggies are alerting me that someone is here. All right, this was the last thing that I was going to show. This was kind of a cool, it's a road atlas for all of the best roads of all states. This is kind of a fold-out thing here. It's called the Classon's or Classon's Touring Atlas. I saw a few of these on eBay. Check out the old-timey roads and maps, obviously well before the interstate system. So you're talking, maybe state highways at best, probably local routes, shows all the mileage. And it's just, and of course the detail is amazing in these old publications. So very cool. So Again, I'm going to have a lot of work ahead of me to go through this stuff and to kind of price it, to figure out, what I think I'm going to sell these things for. Again, it's consignment, and some of this stuff isn't going to be able to be sold, but it's just nice to, when you run across some of this cool stuff, just, to experience the history of it. So anyway, just look for it on the upcoming, hopefully, What Sold videos. And thanks for watching. So let's run through some items that have recently sold out of our eBay store. If you're a frequent watcher of the channel, you know I'm desperately trying to catch up on the what sold. So this batch of what sold is from the early part of November. So we're making progress, but still have a long way to go. So kicking off the top of the list is this vintage new old stock Avon's men's cologne. It was the full original formula of something called Far Away, and it sold for $17 plus shipping. And speaking of consignment sales, this next sale was from our Gina consignment lot. This was a pair of men's size large unbranded black hoodie pullover sweatshirts. And a customer came in and bought only 2 of these in stock, and they sold for $29.98 plus shipping. Next up was this pair of Torrid women's size 18 medium stretch jeans, and these sold for $22.99 plus shipping. Following that was this new inbox Petmate Travel Airline Kit, and it sold for $15.99 free shipping. Up next was another pair of pants. This was from the Shoe and Jean Palooza sale. This was a pair of Democracy, size women's 16, Absolution, black stretch denim straight jeans, and these sold for $21.38 plus shipping. Up next was a Disney Goofy 14-inch green Christmas nutcracker, and it sold for $24.99 plus shipping. Up next was the second of 2 new with tags Dickies men's 874 original fit flat front work pants, and these sold for $19.99 plus shipping. This next sale is a good illustration of why you should always check your offers and your shipping methods before accepting. We took an offer on this cute decorative snowman/winter tin. It was a metal canister with a removable lid, which sold for $4 free ship on a best offer. Now, we probably lost a little bit of money on that deal, but because we got it for so cheap, it was probably okay. Next up was this pair of Adidas women's size 8 black and white comfort flip-flops, and these sold for $19.99 plus shipping. After that, this pair of women's size XXL black NASA jogger sweatpants, which sold for $14.99 plus shipping. And now that it's getting closer to Christmas, a good number of the Christmas ornaments that we picked up back in June have started to sell. This one was the 2016 Hallmark 12 Little Days of Christmas porcelain minis, days 7 through 9, and it sold for $12.99 plus shipping. And following that was this Stampin' Up! Set of 4 rubber stamps. This was called Frosty, and it sold for $8.99 plus shipping. This next sale was by far the best of this batch altogether. This was a limited edition Robert Graham shirt. It was size men's 2XL. And of course it had the multicolor flip cuff design, and it sold for a whopping $275 plus shipping. The story behind this item was that my daughter works at a thrift store and had alerted me when they had gotten this in. And at the time they wanted $65 for it, which I thought was a little bit much, as I didn't really know a whole lot about it. However, a number of weeks passed, and she let me know that the shirt had gone on sale for half price. So Jess and I went up there, and we used some reward points to lower the cost even more. So I believe that we got the shirt for about $26 total. So $26 into $275, not a bad deal. Up next was this pair of Vigos women's size 26 by 29 Jagger skinny jeans, and these sold for $19.99 plus shipping. Following that was this True Religion men's size medium fresh delicious popcorn design white t-shirt, and it sold for $19.99 plus shipping. Now I would like to draw your attention to the title of this next item. This was a vintage 1971 Waco Draw Poker cordless electronic automatic game from Japan. Please notice in the title that I listed as parts only. And you'll also notice here, here, and here, in 3 different areas of the listing page, I made mention of the fact that this was, of course, a parts-only item and that it didn't work as intended. No surprise to me that when the customer opened up a return, her reason was because it was defective, it didn't work, and it made a strange noise when she tried to run it. Well, of course it didn't, because it was listed as parts only and not working. Even though I did have free returns on this item, the customer never sent it back. The next item that sold was this pair of J. Crew women's size 32 yellow ochre high-rise skinny corduroy pants, and these sold for $14.99 plus shipping. Up next was a 2011 Yo Gabba Gabba Broby Monster, 18 inches tall, and he sold for $13.99 plus shipping. Up next was this lot of 21 Mercer Mayer Little Critter paperback books, which sold for $24.99 plus shipping. And following that was a lot of 12 In Death series books by J.D. Robb, also known as Nora Roberts, and these sold for $16.99 plus shipping. Up next was a set of 6 loose Funko Pop Marvel Deadpool figures, and these sold for a best offer of $30 plus shipping. Next up was a Prana men's size medium blue flannel shirt, and this ended up selling for $23.74 plus shipping. Up next we had a Harley Davidson women's size XL red and black plaid embroidered long sleeve button shirt, which also sold for $23.74 plus shipping. And following that, we had this pair of Mucklucks Selena women's size 6W black faux fur lined comfy fold down boots, which sold on a best offer of $15 plus shipping. This next item was one of the ones featured in one of our previous videos about some headaches and hassles and returns that we had gone through. This was the Hard Rock Cafe Dallas pint glass, which ended up selling overseas for a total of $8.99 plus shipping. The last item up in the eBay list today was this pair of vintage Skechers. These were the Something Else women's size 8.5 white suede tongueless shoes, which sold for $34.99 plus shipping. And just to give you guys an idea of what we sell out of our other stores as well, let's run through some Mercari sales too. We'll kick off the list by showing you this. This is a Fitz & Floyd Polar Bear Christmas 2000 Holiday Winter Salt and Pepper Shaker, which sold for $18. Next up was this pair of Birkenstocks. This was the Ibiza sandals. They were the dual red faux leather strapped women's sandals, size 8. These sold for $26. Up next was an item that we have had for quite some time, but have just not had it listed. But now that mushrooms have made somewhat of a comeback, I need to list more of these. This was a vintage 1970s Merry Mushroom 6-inch canister with lid, and it sold for $25. This next item has quite a story to tell. This was a M&M's racing cap. It was number 18, but it was a Happy Halloween cap. It was a NASCAR youth adjustable cap. Originally, I had sold this item on eBay, and because hat sizes can be a little bit difficult to tell if they're child's or adults, I ended up selling this originally as an adult size hat. Well, when the buyer got it, he said it didn't fit, and so he opened up a return and then promptly sent it back. And that was fine. Again, I have free returns on my items, so this was relisted, and of course it was cross-listed over to our other sites, Poshmark and Mercari. So just before Halloween, this item sells from a lady that says that she was looking for this item for one of her child's costumes. And so I promptly sent it off, and a few days later, as time got closer to Halloween, I received the package back saying that it was undeliverable. So I reached out to the lady and let her know that it had come back as undeliverable. I don't remember what she had said, but she wanted me to resend it, but I obviously needed to go priority this time rather than first class because it was just a few days before Halloween. Priority mail is about 2 or 3 days, and where she lives in relationship to me, it was going to actually arrive on Halloween. And because this was on Mercari, I had to reach out to them, letting them know that I generated a new tracking number and that I was sending it out in lieu of the other one that had come back. And of course, I took pictures to prove all this stuff. So long story short, I got the hat to the lady on Halloween in time for her child's costume, and I had to go back to Mercari to make sure that they saw that the tracking number was updated, and it was kind of a mess, but in the end, the customer was happy, so that's all that matters. The next item from Mercari wasn't as exciting, but it was a good sale nonetheless. This was a lot of 21 Beverly Lewis Christian fiction trade paperbacks with 5 complete series inside. These sold for $65. The last Mercari sale of today was this lot of 6 Childhood of Famous Americans educational children's paperback books, and these sold for $15. And finally, let's run through some Poshmark sales as well. This was a pair of Lululemon women's size 4 base pace high-rise crop leggings in psychic blue. These sold for $31. Up next was a pair of Lucky Brand pants. These were women's size 025 Ava super skinny jeans, and these sold for $18. Next up was this pair of Joybees shoes. These are a lot like Crocs. These were tan leopard print comfort shoes, and these sold for $20. Then we sold this pair of New Balance 652 women's size 9.5D white tennis shoes, and these sold for $15. Following that was this novelty Christmas Story glass and leg lamp ice cube tray combo pack, which sold for $15. And the last item off of our Poshmark list today was this pair of Ariat women's size 29 low-rise bootcut stretch denim jeans, and these sold for $38. Well, that is about everything that I had for today's video. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end here. If you liked today's video, go ahead and click the like button. And if you feel moved to do so, consider subscribing to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything, it's free, of course, and it does help us grow. So thanks again for watching, especially all the way to the end, and we'll catch you on the next one.